What is going on, Cyberfam? Back at it again. Alright, this one is gonna get a little tricky. I see that you see the thumbnail. I know what you're probably thinking, but we're gonna get just a little bit political on this one. And I know what you're saying. You're like, oh my gosh, Shibari, why in such an early, genesis of your channel, why have you gone to the dark side and pulled in the unspeakable politics into the mix? We loved you, you're gonna die.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
I'm not getting political, guys, okay? Relax. I'm just making a comment on the stuff that Biden's talking about, okay? Don't get triggered, okay? Before we get into this, I feel like it's important to say this. Personally, between the two of us, just me and you, I don't give a shit about politics. There you go, I said it. In my opinion, I think actually, if you want to be a good investor, you should not give that much of a shit about politics. It's hard to trade around it. It's not exactly that reliable. And I'll explain to you why in a second. So, you can care about other stuff for politics and, all these things, but I subscribe to the old adage that all politicians are dickheads. Or is that how it goes? But all politicians to me are crooks, man, at the end of the day. My views on anything is like, we're just where everyone else is really. I'm like really pretty much right down the middle on most things. So, and personally, I haven't voted for anybody just because I don't understand anything that anyone says anymore. So, it is what it is. But my background, my family's typically usually very liberal. But, that never influenced me at all. I just look at things from an objective sense. And I don't know, I kind of see myself as a aspiring technocrat, if you ask me, to be honest. So this kind of stuff doesn't matter to me too much. Now, in this case, it kind of did a little bit, just because I knew from this whole 2020 election stuff that both sides were just posturing, right? Same as it was for 2016. And like, you guys, like, if don't get so offended and stuff when I talk about this, and if you do, then it is what it is, man. I can't help you, right? But all I'm gonna say is there was a lot of stuff that was being said for this 2020 elections with Biden and Trump that was total BS, guys. Okay, like, the point of this video I'm trying to make is I just finished watching a video from Galileo Russell. I think his channel is Hyperchange. I'll post a link to his channel below. He's pretty cool. He's like a super Tesla bull. He's been an early Tesla investor and that kind of stuff. But it's funny because he was making a comment about how he might have voted for Biden and things aren't going the way it was or whatever. Anyway, for those of you who voted for Biden expecting that Biden is going to be different and he's going to be bringing change in terms of like climate change and all this other stuff to the table, I don't know, man. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but all I know is the stuff that he was saying, the stuff that was there in terms of evidence didn't match, right? These guys can't even admit the fact that Tesla is the one that's leading the future for EVs and has already led the future. And they can't even admit to the fact that they are an American company. Tesla is literally a company that's an American company that's making cars in America, okay? Like GM, I think Ford makes cars in Mexico. It's like, come on, guys. Anyway, but yeah, Tesla's an American car company, okay? Let's not get confused here. They're very unapologetic towards it. They build their cars in California. Now they're going to have a factory in Texas. Prior to last year, they were through and through fully American. They had no other factories anywhere else. Why wouldn't that be such a beautiful American success story? I don't understand why they can't even say it. It's like, it's honestly a little bit despicable. But people are really surprised about this whole union stuff with Biden and all these things, right? So basically, if you guys don't know, Biden kind of snubbed Tesla, right? And he said he went to a summit with, first he held a summit with GM, Ford, and American manufacturers, right, Stellantis and stuff, to say, okay, we're going to move forward with an EV future and union-made cars, union, right? And then now he went to the GM Zero factory or whatever, where they're trying to go with their zero emissions, initiative. and he test drove the Hummer, and he talked about it, and he basically pointed out saying, and I'll read you the quote in a second, and I'll leave it up on screen here. But he pointed out saying, oh, you know, like, here's a quote, okay? I'm going to read it out to you. Also, by the way, you know, this might be paraphrased, so please, like, actually go and watch the video. Maybe I'll put a link to it below, okay? In the auto industry, Detroit is leading the world in electric vehicles. You know how critical it is? Mary, I remember talking to you way back in January about the need for America to lead in electric vehicles. I can remember your dramatic announcement that by 2035, GM would be 100% electric. You changed the whole story, Mary. You did, Mary. You electrified the entire automotive industry. I'm serious. You led, and it matters. Brought to you by your local Joe Biden. Oh my god, the funny thing is, it's like, it almost sounds like Joe Biden is talking to like a child, you know? It's like, you really did it, Billy. You really did. You know, it's like, it's like a consolation prize. Like, you know, he knows that someone else did it, but he's like, no, you really did. No, it was all you. It was all you. To me, all of you are winners. It's like, come on, man. It's so obviously ridiculous. I gotta be honest with you. When, like, I kind of knew Joe Biden was gonna win. Okay, it's just, you know, Trump was a little too much for some folks, and it is what it is, right? Besides, I have no views on that. Again, I don't give a shit. Okay, so when Biden was talking about his whole like going green and all this other stuff, going back into the Paris Accord, it sounded great, guys. But you know, these things like how the Auto Workers Union, the UAW, right? How they're big funders for Biden's campaign. This stuff was public knowledge back then too. Like, this is, you could have seen this coming. And Tesla has been a famous non-union shop, like very famously non-union. So like, all these people too, like some of these people will say, oh yeah, I voted for Biden and now he's fucking us over. Like, at the end of the day, guys, like, you know, they're politicians. They're not always going to give you what you want, right? That's one thing you got to understand. Like, this isn't, you're not like voting for your sports team or something that's going to try hard to win. This is, you know, there's more nuance to this. So I don't know. I remember talking to my wife about this. I'm like, Biden's going to win and Tesla's going to get snubbed. I told her this like freaking, what was it, 2 years ago at this point, right? It's, you knew this, guys. You saw this coming. Like, come on. Everyone's all acting all surprised and stuff. But at the end of the day, the guy, you know, no politician is clean like this, right? You know, you gotta understand something. These guys have an agenda, right? And what you're really doing, especially if your company is in the crosshairs of that agenda, is you're trying to make sure that your company is strong enough to be able to survive any onslaught from the government, right? Which most companies are, actually. They're very, very good at that. Tesla especially, like, people shouldn't be worried, guys, okay? This is a fantastic company. No matter what Biden does, Legacy Auto is absolutely screwed in every aspect, okay? No matter what they do, they're screwed. I think the factory that he was at is actually like shut down now for a little bit or something too. So there's the ironic part. The guy is sitting in like a Hummer, which, believe it or not, isn't actually made and it has no plans to be made in the next like little bit. So, you know, yes, is it appalling that he just won't say the T word? You know, it's like Tesla has become like the Voldemort of the Democratic Party, where they just can't say their name. It's really annoying, I guess, that he's saying, oh, you know, Mrs. Mary Barra, you're the one who revolutionized like the auto industry or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, of course, which is obviously not true. Ironically, GM actually killed their first electric car in like 1996, way before Tesla, right? Which is actually a good hit. Like, people used to actually want the thing and they forcefully confiscated it and crushed it. And guess what they replaced it with? The Hummer. Yeah, seriously. Okay, like, I can't even make this stuff up. So like, you just can't make this up. So like, I'm just saying, is it annoying? Yeah, it is. But is it unexpected? To me, it's not. Like, you could have seen this stuff coming from a mile away. Is it to say that if you voted like Trump or something, it would be different? Probably not, guys. Like, you gotta understand something. These guys all, like, you know, they have super PACs and they have all of these like lobbyists and donations that come in, right? At the end of the day, these things are glorified, you know, legal bribes. Okay, that's really all it is, right? Come at me, man. It is what it is. I'm just calling it how it is. All right. as an immigrant myself, I'll tell you one thing. Like, the reason why people come to the West is not because of lack of corruption. Okay, there's corruption everywhere in the world. The thing is, in the West over here, you have a chance to really build a community together, right? You have a chance to build something up. You can be part of something. You won't be like, there's no fascism and stuff like that, and there's enough say in the rest of the countries in the West where even if you have a very strong political view or one way or another, there's someone equally strong on the other side, and it kind of balances out a little bit. So in a way that appeals to a lot of immigrants, and that's why they come here. Whereas in most other countries, they just follow the crowd. So if one party becomes like super crazy, then everyone just follows that, and then it just becomes super polarized. So, you know, just keep that in mind. It's not like nobody's sitting here thinking, like, those of you who are thinking, oh, the US is a non-corrupt political system, I'm telling you guys, you need to open your eyes a little bit. Just do a little more research. Just check on Politico and all these other companies that actually fact check people. It's really helpful to you know, if you're into politics, to get into this kind of stuff. The only reason I do it, right, is actually I want to learn more about it, just so my vote will actually count for something. I don't want to just sit there and vote for something because like somebody else told me to vote for something, right? I hate that. Like, I would want to know what I'm voting for, and that's really it. And also for my Tesla investors, you guys, like, you just gotta chill, man. It's okay. Like, whoever you voted for, it is what it is. But honestly, Tesla is a juggernaut. These guys are just gonna steamroll through everything that comes in their way. You know, and you gotta remember, the government's always backward looking, right? They're always gonna try to, you know, prevent monopolies and all this other stuff. That's kind of their thing. So don't worry about it. I think your investment is pretty secure. Don't quote me on it, of course, but I'm definitely not going to sell on this kind of news. And on top of that, like, what are you really scared of? Legacy Auto getting a few $1,000s extra credit? Look at the demand rate for Teslas, right? Lucid is making like 17,000 cars, and their demand increased by like 2,000 cars. Tesla's, you can't get a Tesla till like next year in the summer. So it's not an EV car demand, it's a Tesla demand. So don't worry about it, man. Just like stay stoic and just be chill. It's all right. We're all good. We good, man. And at the end of the day, if you're an investor, if you're a very good investor, you should not be worried too much about politics. It's really not that big of a factor for you. Unless you're in like some kind of business like oil or something like that, right? Unless you're in a very regulated business, that might be a problem. But if you're in if you're in tech especially, it's too, you know, we're sitting on the precipice of something that is very future and forward looking. So no politician, no Mary Barra, no Ford, or all these people are going to be able to stop the onslaught of the future coming, which is basically AI and electrification, in my opinion. Like, that's two of the things that are going to happen. So guys, honestly, message of the day really is, you know, when you see this kind of stuff, just shake your head and just go about your day. Like, this, he's doing his job. He's, you know, swallowing lots of donations from you know, from the people that put him in office, and he literally said they put me in the office, right? So he's doing what he thinks is right, and all we can do is prepare for it by doing what we think is right. And that's about it. So hopefully I didn't trigger and lose some subscribers, but, you know, I really appreciate you guys sticking around and seeing what I got to say about this stuff. But at the end of the day, man, all I care about is getting successful and rich together. And I don't know, I don't think this affects any of it. So I'll see you in the next video, guys. Catch you later. Peace.